This is Michael Orrell from MobileBurn.com, and today I have with us the Palm Pixie for Sprint. This is the second WebOS powered smartphone to hit the market. And we also have the Palm Touchstone. It's an inductive charging system. Magnetically holds the phone in place, and when used with an optional inductive capable back, we replace the standard back on the Pixie and with this one, and then it'll work up. But we'll look at that later. Let's take a look at the phone first right now. I have to cut this open here, and we'll open it up, and here's the phone itself. You can see it looks very much like a Centro, very thin, has a kind of a soft touch back to it. Of course, we're going to replace that with the other back we just mentioned for the Touchstone. Let's set this aside and see what comes in the box for now. This little plastic tray here, and a packet of information. This is a getting started guide, features guide, and a recycling bag. This appears to be the same thing in Spanish. And some really nice packaging here. Everything really kind of cool looking, and very much like we saw with the original Pre. Here is the charging cable and data cable. It is a micro USB cable, and the charger itself is right here. It's very, very small, very cute. Plugs flip out, cable plugs in here. Really very compact. I'm quite impressed with that. It's very nice indeed. Pull this out, and it looks like there's some more paperwork on the bottom. I'm sure it's probably just warranty information and other mundane things, but we'll take a look at it anyway. A little hard to get out, and there certainly seem to be enough things down here. Warranty information, same thing in Spanish, and of course important legal information, and some Sprint network information. Okay, I'm going to pull out the Touchstone at this point, just to show you what it looks like. You can see it's a kind of a wedged cylinder. And you'll notice that the device does not stick to it right now. There's no magnetics in it because this is the standard back. You have to use this back. It comes in this package here in order to take advantage of the Touchstone. And same kind of packaging, that nice orange cardboard. And it's in this little tray here. Now you can see there's some extra contacts, and you can see what's going on here is a little bit, this is where the inductive system is, this little panel in here. Otherwise still soft touch, but it has a golf ball dimple effect, which is really, really nice. It's much, I think, nicer looking than just the plain back. If you take a look at it, you can see it's much more style here on the Touchstone capable back, but otherwise they look very similar. We'll pull this back off and compare the two on the inside. Now the first thing we're going to have to do is get the back off, and according to the directions you have to pry this out here on the side. There we go, and it should pop out. It's actually not as hard as I expected. There you can see the bare back of the Pixie. We'll set that aside and grab the other back so we can compare the two. You can see now that this panel is not present on the other one. There's two contacts there for charging, so this is where the inductive power is received and then charges through to the phone through those two contacts there. This back is definitely heavier. I mean, we're talking only a couple of grams, I imagine, but it's definitely heavier than the stock non-Touchstone compatible back. But otherwise, they look quite similar. Here's the Touchstone back with the phone. We're going to put them together, but before we do that, first you can see the contacts where they line up there for the charging system. So I'm going to snap it all back in. Goes in pretty easily. Everything clicks into place. And let's take a look at the design. Up top we have the power button. I guess I'll press that here to start things up, hopefully. See the device is starting up. 3.5mm headphone jack. There's a 2 megapixel, that's 2 megapixel again, camera on the back. The original Pre had a 3.2 megapixel camera. The silence mute button, whatever you want to call it here. Volume controls, this is all on the right hand edge. And right here, it's a little difficult to see, it's pretty well hidden right now, is the flap that protects the micro USB charging and data port. It's nice and smooth, it doesn't feel like it's going to get opened by mistake. Very subtle look, and it seems to work pretty well. Nothing on the bottom. Some sort of hole right here. I'm not sure if it's for maybe a car kit, secondary microphone. Not really, honestly sure. Speakers for the speakerphone and ringtones and stuff like that, and of course the front of the device is where we have the 320 by 400 pixel display. Now the original Pre had a half VGA, that was 320 by 480, so we've lost 80 pixels worth here. I guess they already figured the device was getting pretty long because of the full QWERTY keyboard down here. Now the QWERTY keyboard has keys very similar to those of the Pre and the Centros. They're little pieces of, I guess, stiff rubber, you would call it. Haven't really played with it yet, just pulled it out of the box, so I'll have to see. Right now the device is powering up and it's asking us for some basic setup information. We're going to select English, and now the phone is activated, and we'll assume all the conditions are okay. In order to use a WebOS device, you need to create a profile with Palm, so we're going to create a new profile here. Call it Mobile Burn Test. Enter the password and I'll hit Next. And we'll use one of our test Gmail accounts. Very small keyboard, not a bad feel though, and if you're okay with the small size, you really don't have to move your fingers around too much. It's not all that bad. And now we're creating the profile. Looks like we're done. Some information about how they use location information. Have to accept Google's terms. And we're going to enable auto locate. And there we are at the initial screen. So give us a couple of hints on how to use the device. Now that we have the Touchstone compatible back on, I'm going to show you how the magnetics work. There's a little bit of a magnetic surface either in the back or in the Touchstone itself, so as the phone and Touchstone will stick to each other. I mean, it's not a super strong magnet, but it's definitely enough to get the job done. And on the back, or I should say, I guess, the bottom of the Touchstone, we have all these little micro suction cups. This thing will stick to everything. It's not adhesive per se, but it will stick to anything. Even painted walls. I had this thing mounted to a painted wall where I had the Palm Pre done that way at least. So it's really good technology. It's easy to wipe off and clean, so it stays nice and fast wherever you stick it. And just to quickly make my point, here is the Touchstone and the Pixie mounted on vertical surface. This is a photo shooting table, and you can see it sticks right there, not a problem at all. Finally made it to the main screen of the Pixie, and you can see we've got a couple little shortcuts down here at the bottom, this right one being the main menu. You can see we can swipe left and right to get between multiple screens, and you can see the little tick marks down here at the bottom showing that there's more screens to the left or the right. So there's 2 to the left now, and now there's 2 to the right. Load up an application just by tapping on it. And instead of the little ball that you press there to throw things into card view, it's just a little flick now. And we can once again get back to the main menu and pull up something separate. I'll do it again and pull up contacts. And once again, so now we're using that little flick gesture to get into card view, and you can just get rid of any of the applications you're not interested in and tap on the one you are, at which point we can go through and we'll add a Google account and hopefully pull in some contacts.